There are moments in life that haunt you. As a heart surgeon, I've had many. I've stood in operating rooms holding open hearts, working against the clock, trying to save lives that didn't have to be in danger. And every time I lose someone, or every time I see a heart so damaged it barely beats, there's one thought I can't shake. If only they had stopped this one habit, this one single habit, I might never have had to open their chest. If you're over 60 and want to protect your heart, your brain, your independence, and your future, you need to hear what I'm about to say. Because ignoring this habit is like playing Russian roulette with your life. And by the time the symptoms show, the damage is already done. If you've been searching for senior health tips that cut through the noise and give you the truth from someone who sees the consequences firsthand, then stay with me until the end of this video. The one habit I'm begging seniors to stop is so common, so normalized, that it's become invisible. And that's what makes it so dangerous. This daily mistake is destroying more hearts than cigarettes or sugar, and most seniors do it before noon every day. Before we dive deeper, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. We release life-saving health updates every week that are specially crafted for people in their golden years who want to stay strong, mobile, and full of life. Your subscription helps us reach more people and possibly save more lives. Let's keep going. Now, I've spent decades inside operating rooms. I've worked with patients in their 60s, 70s, 80s, even some in their 90s. I've seen the inside of a healthy heart, and I've seen hearts that look like they've been through war. And I can tell you this with full confidence. It's not genetics that breaks most hearts. It's not even bad luck. It's habits. And there's one in particular that kills more quietly and consistently than almost any other. The habit I'm talking about is sitting. Long, unbroken hours of sitting. Yes, sitting. It sounds harmless. But for seniors, it is the silent killer of the cardiovascular system. It's not just about being inactive, it's about what happens inside your body when you remain seated for long periods of time, day after day, year after year. When you sit too long, your circulation slows dramatically. Your blood begins to pool in your legs. Your arteries stiffen. Your heart must work harder just to move blood through your system. Your muscles weaken, your metabolism tanks, and the cells in your heart become deprived of the oxygen and nutrients they need. This is not theory. This is biology, and it's one I've seen play out in operating rooms thousands of times. But it's not just your heart that suffers. Sitting for long stretches is directly linked to higher blood pressure, higher cholesterol, and the buildup of plaque in the arteries. It raises your risk for stroke, diabetes, and even certain cancers. And worst of all, the effects are compounded for seniors. The older you get, the more fragile your blood vessels become. The more likely you are to form clots. The more sensitive your heart becomes to even small changes in activity. That's why sitting is so deadly, because it disguises itself as rest. But in reality, it's erosion, slow, silent, and deadly. What's heartbreaking is how common this is. I talk to patients every day who tell me they watch TV for 5 or 6 hours a day. They eat meals while sitting, read the paper while sitting, talk on the phone while sitting. Some of them only get up to use the bathroom. And they don't realize that with every passing hour, they're weakening the most important muscle in their body. Now let me be clear. Rest is important. But sitting for long, uninterrupted hours is not rest. It's a health hazard. And here's the kicker. Many seniors think they're active because they walk for 20 minutes in the morning. But if they sit for the next 8 hours straight, that walk barely offsets the damage. It's the constant, prolonged stillness that's the real problem. Movement needs to be woven throughout your day, not compressed into a single moment. I've opened up patients who were technically active, but sat too much during the day. Their arteries still hardened. Their blood still thickened. Their heart still failed. One walk a day is not enough. Let me share a story that broke me. An 82-year-old man came in for bypass surgery. He was strong, alert, had no history of smoking or drinking, and ate decently. But he had one habit. He watched TV for most of the day. He was a sports fan. He loved documentaries. He'd wake up, sit down with coffee, and barely move until dinner. When we opened him up, his arteries were so clogged and brittle that one of them cracked while we tried to bypass it. His recovery was long and painful. And he asked me through tears, "Doctor, why did this happen to me? I thought I was doing everything right." I told him the truth. "You were doing everything right, except for sitting too long." And his face dropped. Because like most people, he thought sitting was just part of aging, something innocent, something safe. But it's not. And I don't want that to be your story. This is why I'm begging you, stand up, break the cycle, interrupt the damage, because your heart is counting on it. Now in the next section, we'll dive deeper into what prolonged sitting actually does to your body over time, and how just a few simple changes can literally reverse years of internal damage. Let's take a closer look at what happens inside your body when you sit for too long. It's more than just your legs getting stiff or your back feeling sore. Sitting affects your entire system, from your brain to your toes, in ways that are dangerously underestimated, especially for older adults. When your body stays still for long periods, your metabolism slows down. Your muscles stop contracting and your blood flow becomes sluggish. This leads to lower circulation, and over time, your arteries start to lose their elasticity. Your heart has to work harder to pump blood through stiffer pathways. That extra strain might not show up as chest pain at first. It might show up as fatigue, shortness of breath, or swelling in your legs. But beneath the surface, your heart is suffering in silence. Another critical problem with long hours of sitting is that it increases inflammation throughout your body. Inflammation damages the lining of your blood vessels, which leads to plaque buildup and increases your risk for clots. These clots are often what cause heart attacks and strokes. They can form without any warning, and when they move, they can cut off blood supply to your brain or heart in seconds. I've seen patients rushed in with massive heart attacks who had no previous diagnosis, no warnings. But when we traced their habits, one thing stood out. They were sedentary for most of the day. They thought heart trouble only came from junk food or smoking. But in reality, their biggest enemy was the chair they never left. And there's more. When you sit too much, your muscles shrink. And when your muscles weaken, especially the ones in your legs and core, your heart has to carry a greater load. Muscle mass actually plays a role in helping blood circulate. When you contract your legs as you walk or stand, those muscles push blood back to your heart. But if you lose those muscles, your heart doesn't get that boost anymore. It's working harder with less support. And if you think a cushy recliner solves the problem, it doesn't. In fact, sitting in soft chairs can make it worse. Why? Because they encourage you to slump and relax into poor posture, which compresses your diaphragm and makes your breathing shallow. Shallow breathing means less oxygen. Less oxygen means more pressure on your heart to deliver what little there is. Over time, this creates a system that's starved of the very fuel it needs to stay alive. Now you might be wondering, but doctor, isn't rest important, especially as we age? Absolutely, rest is vital. But there's a difference between healthy rest and harmful inactivity. Rest is what happens when your body recovers from movement. Inactivity is what happens when your body is denied movement for hours at a time. One heals, the other harms. I know that many seniors fear falling, and I get it. It's scary to feel unsteady on your feet. But what I want you to understand is that the very act of avoiding movement to prevent a fall is what leads to muscle loss and weakness, which actually increases your risk of falling. It's a cruel cycle, and sitting is right at the center of it. The longer you sit, the weaker your legs become. The weaker your legs become, the more you rely on chairs and couches. Before long, standing feels like a chore. And by the time you realize what's happened, you've lost the strength to get it back easily. But here's the good news. It doesn't take much to change everything. The most powerful changes I've seen in my patients have come not from surgery or medicine, but from the decision to move more. The patient who stood up during every commercial break on TV. The woman who paced while talking on the phone. The man who started doing light chores again just to stay active. These small steps created massive change. Their blood pressure dropped. Their energy increased. Their heart tests improved. All because they chose to interrupt the pattern of sitting. Now I know what you might be thinking. But I'm too old to start moving now. Let me be very clear. Age is not your enemy. Inactivity is. Your body responds to movement at any age. I've seen people in their 80s and 90s reverse years of decline by simply standing more, walking more, and choosing activity over comfort. It's never too late. And please, don't think this means you need to join a gym or buy fancy equipment. The key is consistency, not intensity. It's not about lifting weights or running miles. It's about using your body throughout the day, in small but intentional ways. That's how you build momentum. That's how you rebuild strength. That's how you protect your heart. In the next section, I'll walk you through the daily rhythms that support heart health, the hidden ways sitting is sneaking into your life, and how to design your environment so that movement becomes effortless and natural. So how does sitting quietly invade your life without you even realizing it? It happens slowly, in ways that seem innocent, harmless, even comforting. You wake up and sit down to read or sip your coffee. Then you sit to eat breakfast. After that, maybe you move to a different chair to watch television or scroll through your phone. By lunchtime, you've spent 4 to 5 hours barely moving, and the day's just beginning. This is exactly how the damage accumulates, not all at once, but little by little. And by the time you feel tired, stiff, or notice your energy dipping, the silent effects on your cardiovascular system are already well underway. But here's the thing, you don't need to flip your lifestyle upside down. You just need to create a rhythm of movement that your body can rely on. Let's talk about your home. Your environment can be your best ally or your worst enemy. Most homes are built for convenience, not movement. The remote is always close by. Your phone is always in reach. The fridge is only a few steps away. Your entire space is designed to minimize effort. And while that might seem helpful, especially as you get older, it's actually working against your heart every single day. What if you changed that? What if you moved things slightly out of reach so that you had to get up and walk to grab your book or turn on the light or answer the phone? What if your favorite chair was in the corner of the room that required you to take 10 steps each time you wanted to sit down? These little tricks, done intentionally, can create dozens of moments of movement every day. Let's go deeper. The real power comes when you shift your mindset. You need to stop viewing movement as exercise and start seeing it as life. Because that's what it is. You don't need to work out. You just need to move. Sweep the porch. Stand up during commercials. March in place for 1 minute while the kettle boils. These things don't require a gym. They require awareness. This is where the magic happens. When movement becomes your default, not the exception, your heart begins to thrive. Your circulation improves, your metabolism speeds up, your energy returns, your mood stabilizes, your sleep gets deeper. This isn't hype. This is the reality I've witnessed in hundreds of patients. Let me tell you about one of them. Her name was Jean, and she was 87 when she came to see me. She had high blood pressure, mild heart failure, and complained of swelling in her ankles and fatigue by noon. Her family was worried. She was spending most of her day in a recliner, and her heart was growing weaker. I gave Jean one instruction: Set a timer to go off every 45 minutes and simply stand up and walk around the living room for 2 minutes. She looked at me like I was crazy. "That's it?" she asked. "No pills? No exercises?" "Nope," I told her. "Just do that every single day." 6 weeks later, she came back a different woman. Her swelling had gone down. Her energy was higher. She smiled more. Her blood pressure had dropped slightly. She said, "I didn't realize how much I wasn't moving. That timer saved my life." Now, I'm not saying a timer alone will solve every health issue, but it's a tool, a reminder to break the cycle of sitting, and that's the whole point of this video. Because the longer you stay seated, the more likely you are to become dependent on sitting. Your joints stiffen, your balance gets shaky, your muscles weaken, your confidence fades, and then one day, the simple act of getting out of a chair feels like climbing a mountain. But it doesn't have to be that way. Your body is waiting to respond to even the smallest changes. And when you start building movement into your day, you are literally reawakening your heart's natural power to heal and strengthen. You also need to remember this. Your heart does not operate in isolation. It's part of a larger ecosystem. When you move more, you breathe deeper. When you breathe deeper, your brain gets more oxygen. Your digestion improves. Your immune system strengthens. Your hormones balance. Movement is the spark that lights up every other system in your body. And yet so many seniors treat movement like an option. Something extra, something nice if there's time. But if you treat it like a luxury, your body will treat it like a necessity and punish you when it's missing. Now what if you have pain? What if your knees hurt or your back feels tight? That's even more reason to move, gently, carefully, and often, because motion is medicine. Pain gets worse with stillness. Joints stiffen, muscles tighten, blood flow slows. Moving through the discomfort with intention and moderation can reduce pain over time, not increase it. And don't be discouraged if progress feels slow. It's supposed to be. You didn't become inactive overnight. You won't regain your energy overnight either. But day by day, step by step, your body will change. It always does when you give it what it needs. In the final section, we'll talk about the emotional side of sitting. The hidden reasons many seniors fall into the habit and how to replace the emotional comfort of inactivity with something even better. The pride of reclaiming your vitality. Let's now talk about the emotional side of this dangerous habit. Because sitting, for many seniors, isn't just physical, it's emotional. It feels like safety. It feels like control. After a lifetime of working hard, raising families, paying bills, facing challenges, it's only natural to want rest, peace, and ease. You've earned it. So the recliner becomes a sanctuary. The television becomes a companion. The familiar rhythm of sitting feels comforting. But here's the truth. Most people don't want to say out loud. Comfort can become a trap. And when comfort turns into constant stillness, it doesn't give you freedom. It quietly takes it away. Every hour spent too still chips away at your independence, your mobility, and your heart's ability to protect you. You start sitting more, thinking you're preserving your strength. But over time, you find it harder to stand, harder to walk, harder to do the things you used to enjoy. And you tell yourself, I'm just getting older. But age isn't the cause. Inactivity is. And I've seen the sadness that comes when this realization hits too late. When seniors come into my office, not because of pain, but because they've noticed they can no longer get out of a chair without help, or they feel winded just walking to the bathroom. That's when it clicks. That's when they understand this one habit, sitting too long, has slowly drained the life out of them. But I want to tell you something from the bottom of my heart. It is never too late to take it back. Never. I've watched 70-year-olds transform into vibrant, mobile, independent people again. I've watched 80-year-olds find strength they thought they lost. I've seen people bounce back from the edge of heart failure, not with some miracle drug, but by standing up and moving their body consistently. And when that happens, the look in their eyes changes. They start smiling more. They speak with more energy. They sleep better. Their blood pressure improves. They walk with confidence. They carry themselves with pride. Because they didn't just protect their heart, they reclaimed their life. You see, every time you choose to stand when you could sit, every time you take a few extra steps around your home, every time you stretch, bend, walk, or move, you're telling your body, I'm not done yet. You're telling your heart, keep going. And it listens. Now I know it might feel daunting. Maybe you've been inactive for years. Maybe your legs feel weak, or your back hurts, or you're afraid to fall. That's okay. Start where you are. Even if it's just standing up and sitting down 5 times a day. Even if it's walking in place for 1 minute every hour. Even if it's stretching your arms while you sit, every bit matters. And if you're feeling lonely, isolated, or uninspired, know that you're not alone. Millions of seniors are facing this same quiet battle every single day. But here's the beautiful part. The moment you decide to take control, you become an example. For your family, for your friends, for your neighbors, for the younger generation watching you. You become proof that strength doesn't fade with age, it fades with neglect. And when you stop neglecting your body stops breaking down. So what do I want you to do with everything you've heard today? I want you to make movement your daily medicine. I want you to create a rhythm where sitting is the pause, not the lifestyle. I want you to build tiny, doable movements into your everyday life. Walk around the house while talking on the phone. Stand and stretch during TV shows. Use a counter to do gentle push-ups. Pace in place while the microwave runs. Build rituals of activity that protect your heart, energize your mind, and strengthen your independence. And most of all, I want you to remember this. Sitting is not the enemy. It's sitting for hours without moving that destroys your health. It's the stillness that sneaks in and shuts down the life inside you. And once you recognize that, you can become way better than you once were